Hey everyone! I am so excited to finally share the results of this year's competition with you. 2020 was the Chill Out's biggest year yet, with a staggering 80 entries showcasing a vast range of styles, genres, and interpretations of chill. If you submitted a video for this competition, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I've been thoroughly impressed by everyone's work, and I'm deeply moved by all the community engagement I've seen around this competition. It has been so inspiring seeing people I have idolised or worked with pull out all the stops, while also seeing some fresh faces on YouTube share bold new sounds. Before we get into the results, some more thanks are due. Some of you may be familiar with Game Grooves. They are a website, record label, and community that is devoted to video game music covers. This year, Game Grooves provided some generous funding, so we were able to offer all the shortlisted entrants gift cards. This was really wonderful because there are always so many amazing entries to this competition which don't win prizes, so it's nice to be able to acknowledge a few more of them in a small way. So thank you, Game Grooves. That's made a massive difference to the prize pool for this year's competition. If what Game Grooves does sounds interesting to you, check them out with the links in the description. I also want to give tremendous thanks to my fellow judges, Julia Henderson, Purple Shala, and Daniel Capo, without whom this competition would be impossible. It's been no small task listening through all the entries and keeping track of lists and rankings, and these judges' expertise has been invaluable. I am so appreciative of the time they volunteered for this. Special thanks are also due to Daniel Capo for helping to ensure that all prizes made their way to recipients when I was running into some international payment issues. These three panellists are brilliant musicians, and I strongly urge you to check out their work on their channels if you haven't already. Lastly, thank you to everyone who has shared this competition around, voted in the audience choice poll, or spent time working their way through the playlist. Your personal investment helps make this competition what it is. I hope you've enjoyed listening to some chilled out music and found some interesting new artists to follow. With that said, let's begin. This year's Audience Choice winner was a favourite of judges too. We all found plenty to love in this track. I find it incredibly satisfying to see musicians paying homage to the music they enjoy using their own unique styles of expression. In the Gamba Geek's cover, her interests, skills, and knowledge are drawn upon to produce a very effective and cohesive arrangement. Her training as an early music specialist is evidenced in her expressive shaping of viola da gamba and vocal melodies, and her scoring is so convincing you could be forgiven for thinking this work was originally written for her ensemble. It's a perfect replication of a medieval troubadour dance style. There's simply nothing like this happening anywhere else in the VGM cover community at the moment. The Gamba Geek has been releasing some brilliantly unique work lately, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what she produces next. As always in this competition, competitors have found numerous ways to keep their videos engaging. Like the way Andy Rue lightheartedly guides the listener through his arrangement decisions with detailed text animation and a beautiful vintage aesthetic. Or the way Chromatic Apparatus used fitting backdrops and effects to complement his laid-back groove. Or Ro Panuganti's use of B-reel, After Effects, and somber lighting to reflect the themes and mood of Ori and the Blind Forest. There were also too many covers to mention which used the standard split screens and gameplay layout to great effect, like Eric Allen Kay's video here. I loved all of these approaches, but our two winners in this category showed us something special and unique which really elevated their entries. Let's take a look. Corridors of Time by Jake Chapman blew all the judges away with its creative and unique shot composition. There's a bunch of memorable ideas which I haven't seen done anywhere else, like the slow keyboard pan across the middle of the ensemble, or the bottles of water using synchronized background flashes coordinated with their colours. There's a ton of really cool chroma key effects throughout, like keying out one of the boomwhacker colours and slowly switching hues, or the way Jake keyed out his body in the final vibraphone shot. Everywhere you look, there's something visually engaging here, which reinforces the musical choices made in the track itself. If Jake is going to be pursuing more work like this in the future, I really can't wait to see it. But now, let's move on to this year's video production winner. Some of you may recall Moontails winning the video production category in last year's competition. Well, they've clearly been working hard on their craft in the time since then, and their entry this year is even more impressive. This video features a beautiful set of crafted environments, tied together programmatically to reflect the themes of the track. I really like the attention paid to shot composition and lighting, which helps to make each location feel unique and evoke different moods. Bravo, Moontails. I hope you're able to keep competing in future competitions, because I think you're making something very special. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this year we were able to provide small prizes for 8 runners-up in addition to the first, second and third place audio category winners. Getting down to that shortlist was no easy task. All of the judges had to take multiple passes at their lists, excluding lots of personal favourites. Every time I cut my shortlist down, I felt terrible for removing some truly inspired videos, so please don't be hurt if you aren't on this list, because there are some astoundingly talented musicians whose work I adored lying just outside of it. To give due recognition to everyone would make this video so long that I'd never finish it. So acknowledging that, here, in no particular order, are the entrants whose videos just missed out on a podium place. When Wolfman 1405's cover was submitted early on in May, we immediately knew it would be one of the competition's big contenders. Every collaborator here is playing to their strengths, creating a beautiful range of funky fusion textures, and the production on this track is brilliantly polished. This was a hell of a bop. String Player Gamer is a massive VGM veteran, and his cover of Terra's theme shows off his production chops and serious attention to detail. We're just assessing this shortlist on audio, but it would be remiss of me to not mention his beautiful video presentation too. I love the consistent lighting, colouring and masking effects. They fit the laid-back electric vibe of his track perfectly. Terra C Music is another well-established name in the VGM community, and her cover from Near shows off her talent for expressive vocal delivery and sumptuous string textures. Special mention must also go to DS Music's polished and sensitive playing on keys, as he sets up a beautiful background texture which holds the whole track together. Guitar SVD is one of my favourite guitarists in the VGM community. His covers are always thoughtfully arranged to push the expressive capabilities of his instrument to their limit. His playing is a masterclass in how to produce convincing phrasing on guitar. He is undoubtedly a virtuoso, but his technique is never used for its own sake, it's always employed in the service of making a convincing work of art. It's hard to make convincing chamber arrangements out of larger scale orchestral pieces, but this cover by Patty Rudisil could not feel more well suited for her ensemble. It's one of the most convincing arrangements I've ever heard in any genre for a solo instrument and piano. I found it spellbinding. Solid cosplay too. Before this competition, I wasn't familiar with the work of I Like Piano, so his cover from Xenosaga 3 was an extremely impressive introduction to his work. His arrangement demonstrates a thorough understanding of pianistic textures, and his execution is absolutely masterful. He's an artist I'm going to be following keenly from now on. I have absolutely no idea how Instrument Maniac is able to keep up such a polished performance standard on all of his instruments. He works blazingly fast, but his arrangements are always well mixed, professionally scored, and frequently witty and fun to boot. Everything he touches turns to gold. Lastly, I need to mention Ifnot, whose aesthetic tastes are very much after my own heart. Ifnot has this amazing ability to make relatively sparse arrangements sound deeply effective. His 2 AM cover exemplifies everything I love about his work. It's polished, elegant, and feels like a very honest and authentic expression of his tastes. Like I said earlier, please don't be hurt if you didn't make this list. The judges found stuff to like in every single entry, and there are plenty of tracks I adored which I'm not mentioning here. Anyway, with the shortlist discussed, it's time to look at the 3 winners of this year's competition. Jordan Moore's instrumental facility on wind and brass instruments is just staggering. He's another one of those incredible YouTubers who keeps up chops on a wide range of instruments and makes it look like the easiest thing in the world. For this cover, he's limiting himself to ocarina, horn, and euphonium, but he still manages to create a variety of rich and diverse textures. His treatment of all instruments is extremely idiomatic, and I love all of the detail that he's put into little instrumental fills and harmony parts. I also really appreciated his production on this track. I felt like I could always clearly hear the salient parts of his ensemble, and the supporting parts struck a wonderful balance between clarity and density. Jordan's track is sweet, elegant, and poignant, and his work was uniformly adored by the judges. Thanks for being part of this competition, Jordan. I'm definitely looking forward to working with you more in the future. Initially, you may be surprised that a humble semi-live guitar duet is able to compete against some of the extremely production-heavy tracks in this competition, but make no mistake, there's nothing minimal about Znaki's arrangement and performance capabilities, and he pushes this ensemble to its technical and expressive limits. Where this track really shines for me is Znaki's effortless improvisation and elaboration of melodic ideas. His solo lines are rhythmically inventive, technically accomplished, and always feature a clear trajectory and linearity that makes them a joy to listen to. Also, I think the technical challenges of this kind of arrangement can't be understated. It is no easy task to make multi-tracked duos like this feel so thoroughly rhythmically in sync, and you can hear the way that he's thoughtfully considered how these tracks will reinforce and support each other. The proficiency and musicality on display here stunned all the judges. This video marked Znaki's return to YouTube after a 2-year absence while he pursued other musical work. I really hope he's able to find time for more of these sorts of covers in the future, because I would love to hear more tracks covered in this style. I don't think the judges panel has ever been as unanimous as this year. This track was beyond reproach to us. Here is the 2020 Soundole Chill Out Grand Prize winner. Justin Thornburg's cover of Life Goes On is just a treat from beginning to end. Justin's rhythmic control is deeply enviable, and he's used it to assemble such a funky and tight ensemble. He's put a lot of thought into finding complementary patches and keyboard sounds, and then mixed them perfectly. At every moment, you can listen to any part of this track and find effective little details that make the finished product richer. I loved his creative solos, his driving drum programming, and all his subtle but effective comping figures. This track is nothing short of masterful. Justin is another musician who I was introduced to through this competition, and I'm so glad I've discovered his work. I'm sure any other lovers of vintage synthesizer sounds out there are looking forward to hearing more of his work, just like I am. So that brings us to the end of this year's competition. I'm not expecting people to completely agree with the judges' rankings, but hopefully you can now at least see where our decisions were coming from. Again, to anyone who entered, thank you so much for being part of this. It's no exaggeration to say that hosting this competition is the most rewarding work that I do on my channel. Please stay safe, take care of each other, and I'll catch you here again next year for another Chill Out cover competition.